I have a question. Actually, two questions. When it comes to knowing how to succeed, what the best moves to make are when it comes to things like vehicle maintenance, fuel mileage, decisions on the best moves to make in trucking. How do you make those decisions? Well, there are things out there. There are places to go. And there are people to talk to. This is one of those shows where you can find out quality information, ask questions, and find out all the things they'll never tell you in CDO school. So sit back and relax as we give you the skinny on what they don't tell you in school and in training. What's the second question? The second question is simply this.
Shall we begin?
From the trenches of trucking experience and a passionate heavyweight in the Truth in Broadcasting Network. Welcome to Truckin' City News Frontline Podcast. Hosted by the most opinionated broadcaster on YouTube, Boss Man.
Hi-yo and welcome. You know what? It goes without saying. It's a difficult industry. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of places you can go to get that information. I mean, I could name 1,000 trucking channels, left, right, and sideways. And a lot of them are quality. And some of them, well, you've got to learn as you go. So today I've got a panel of guests that, quite honestly, I think comprise an average list of the best in trucking. People talk about, are truckers really people? Do they really have what it takes? Well, I know firsthand, truckers are people too. I know that there's a lot of grumpy ones out there, and I know that there's a lot that are very educated and sometimes don't offer quality information, but really show you visually how professionals do it. So that is but a sampling of the guests I have on today's show. And we are going to sit and talk with you. But it's not just us on the panel that comprise what makes trucking great again. I have people out here in the audience that believe it's possible to build back better, a trucking industry that we can be proud of. I know that there are others out there with a huge list of beliefs. If you want to join us and you want to show us ways in which you can make trucking better than it ever was, I encourage you, come on the show, sit back, let's talk shop, let's make the world a better place. And we can, in fact, do just that. It's real easy. Just come on the show, leave a comment, leave it in the chat, call our studio line at 860-785-3547. Become part of history. That's what Frontlines is all about. We're talking news, we're talking issues, and today we're talking about the things they don't show you in training or in school. So if you're a channel out there and you've got something to add, call our studio line, send me an email, or click on the link in the chat to become part of trucking history. In the meantime, let's talk to guests that have a wide variety of opinions and really know how trucking is today, over 100 years worth of experience, making trucking great again. Welcome to the panelists, guys. John, you have been with me basically since the beginning. I mean, is there anything you can add to what people are told in school that you don't find out until you actually get in the business. What could surprise people the most?
Well, first of all, I wasn't there when you were born, so I couldn't have been there since the beginning. But, and also, I'm the average one here. There are a lot. I hear an echo.
We hear an echo from somebody who has the YouTube window open. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, close your YouTube window, guys. Somebody.
Yeah,
my mic is muted, so it's not me.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm gonna check mine.
Anyway,
well,
we're
there we go. Whoever it was, you muted them. So something that they don't teach you in schools that they should, or I mean, because there's a lot they don't teach you in schools, but some of it shouldn't be the school's responsibility to teach you. But I believe coming out of school, you should be much more well-rounded than you are when they come out now. I would say probably the biggest thing is they don't really teach, like they teach you how to drive it. They teach you how to operate a truck, but not at a professional level. But they don't teach you time management. And that is a huge part of our job. Like they should break down the clock much further than they actually do. That would be my biggest point probably, because a lot of new truckers, they make huge mistakes in time management, huge mistakes.
All right.
Like so split sleeper berth, for example.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, there's somebody I think on this panel that I think is real educated in the art of split sleeper. So I, as far as I know, in previous conversations,
I'm done talking.
I was going to say, in terms of that, somebody that really has probably had a lot of experience, I think, would be you, Tom. In terms of split sleeper berth, I mean, I think something happened. I unmuted you, so let me do the mute control. There we go. Let me do the mute controls. What is it they don't tell you about split sleeper that you could offer as a great example?
They don't talk about split sleeper at all when you go through. But split sleepers, the key with split sleepers, remember, the first time you do split sleeper, all it does is stop your 14-hour clock. It will be at the exact same place it was when you stopped. And you have to wait at least 2 to 3 hours. And another thing about split sleep, the second time you'll get back what you had before the first break. I know it sounds complicated. I'm probably going to do a video on it before long. The other thing about split sleeper berth is it doesn't have to always go 3-7 or 2-8. You can actually go 3-7, 7-3 if you want. It doesn't matter as long as you pair them up. Anyway,
how would the use of that actually benefit you in terms of trying?
Great.
In terms of trying to get
drivers. A lot of old drivers who say there's too many regulations on truck drivers are really quick to say they're not able to take a nap. They're not able to stop due to traffic. So you're driving down the road and you know you're going to hit Atlanta at 5 o'clock. You can go ahead and pull off at Conyers Walmart, put yourself in off duty, go on in the store, shop a little bit. Then you can come back out to your truck 2 hours later and your clock has went right back to where it was when you shut down. You can jump in your truck now at 7 o'clock at night. You'll be able to go through Atlanta without having to fight that traffic. And then later on, you stop and take an 8-hour sleeper berth and it'll pair together. The 2-hour and the 8-hour pair together. And as soon as you pair it together, you get your time back and you get to keep on rolling. And another neat thing about split sleeper berth is that you don't lose the time. Like, for example, we have an 11-hour drive day. If you shut down and take a 10-hour break after, say, you only drove 9 hours, you just lost that extra 2 hours. That doesn't happen with split sleeper berth. It just keeps kicking down the road. You never lose anything. Whatever you had keeps going forward.
There you go. Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Tom. I've never really experienced, or tried that whole split sleeper. But the way you just explained it makes me curious now, because I mean, I've always been of the mindset that if anything interferes with my normal sleep schedule or knocks me out of a normal pattern, I've always been intimidated by trying to put that into my normal schedule, because I'm one of those that you picked on a second ago. I'm old school. I believe in the 14-hour day, 10-hour sleep, 14 and 10, 14 and 10. That's just me. Sometimes I'm afraid to put that in there, you know, and the last thing I want to do is put myself in jeopardy of not being able to get that full day next day. So I'm always intimidated, but hearing you talk about it now, I'm not so worried about it, because it makes more sense. But see, those are the things they never tell you in school. You know, other things like how to handle, you know, your problems on the road and stuff like that. You know, I mean, you've gone through a number of problems here recently, Grumpy, where you had issues dealing with issues on the road and how to deal with mechanical breakdowns and stuff like that. So what can you offer that they won't ever tell you being trained or, you know, being schooled in school? What would be some good advice on your front?
Well, you know, partly be like what Tom and John were talking about the split stuff. I mean, they really don't go into great detail about that. They say you're going to learn more about that when you get with your trainer and stuff. You know, split's kind of been around a few years, but they've changed some things about it, you know, over the last few years that's different than whenever I first started.
But if I'm not mistaken, you've recently had to experience, should I or shouldn't I, recently in the last week, because you've had a couple of instances that kind of ruined your day. You know,
actually, that's been pretty much this week. You know, today, I'm actually supposed to be home with my family, unfortunately, because the week has been really crappy. I have gotten stuck here at my home terminal having repairs done because the trailer that I hooked to has done something to my tractor. So I've got mechanics running around right now trying to figure it out. So yeah. They don't teach you that stuff in school. They tell you, you're going to have breakdowns, but they don't tell you what.
No, they never do. Yeah. So, want to acknowledge and welcome some guests in the chats. I'm sorry we started a little later than normal, guys, but technical issues are the realm of the day. 7C's in the house. Welcome you, my friend. I'm glad you're joining us. And no, we're not cooking hog, but boy, I'm feeling very piggy today. I'll tell you what. I'm fighting a cold. I've been fighting it all week, but definitely feeling a lot better.
He said he's cooking hog.
Oh, he is. Is that what that is? Well, it said we, so I thought maybe he meant the show. So I was all right, whatever. Leave it to me to misread comments, right? Sounds yummy. Trucking is dead. Hey, we're all welcome to join. Good morning to Poet. Thank you for joining us, even though you're in a different time zone. God bless it. He always joins the show. Very dedicated viewer, so welcome indeed. Let me see, scanning comments here. Make sure I don't ignore anyone. A new face in the house. Somebody named Elvin. Hello, greet you all from the bottom of my heart. From Azerbaijan, we are reaching the world. Welcome, my friend. And I will not even begin to try that last name. Sorry. You are Elvin, my friend, and welcome to the show. All right. Poet, driving, 1972, 65B61 Mac. Yeah, I was taught to set up brakes. No one told me that I was not to undo the clamps on the brake chambers back in the day. The spring chamber also had a removable clamp. It goes on to the next one. Damn near killed me when the spring let go. Yeah, I don't think there's very many of us that haven't surprised themselves with that one. But go ahead, John.
Let me point out something about that. He just said 1972. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1972.
In the comment?
65B61 Mac.
Okay. Not to make Poet feel old, but do you see this? I'm 52 years old. I was born in 1972. Holy crap, man. Really? Holy moly.
Go there for a second.
That dude's been driving forever.
I'm serious, yeah. He is experienced. I mean, and if there was a way that we had internet reliable enough to bring him on, I would. Talk about building back better trucking. Boom, the man himself, the myth, the legend, Fate Truckin. Hello to you, Scott.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I was born in 1980. Just so Poet knows. Poet was on my live show yesterday, and I kind of lost track of what he was trying to say. So I apologize, Poet, for last night not really following along with what you were saying.
No, I'm sure he understands. He's in there, with our shows all the time, and the best way he can go in there is with the comments, and he calls the show studio line from time to time. So he's got signal. He just can't do the internet, unfortunately. So we love him. He's good. He's regular. So that's great. So what may you have to offer, Scott, that the average individual might not know about after being trained and schooled on how to truck? Give us some good stuff. Yeah, I know I'm putting you on the spot. I know. Thank you, boss man.
Well, no, you know what? I think the biggest thing I've taken away from my training, even when I started back in '99, is I just constantly stay vigilant. Like I constantly am learning new things. I have not gotten to the point yet where I'm uncoachable or untrainable. I think when you get to that point, you become complacent, and that's when accidents and stuff happens. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I think it's fair to say of anybody in the industry. I mean, we're all equal. We all know what we know, but we all know enough to know we can always learn something. Hence the reason I started this channel and why I welcome you and Midlife and Grumpy and John, all of you to come on these shows week after week after week, because you know what? We have now well over 100 years worth of experience on one show and one place people can go to. Hey, what is it I don't know? What can I take away from here today? It's not just a place where we come up here and talk crap, and I don't just talk about everybody else. I talk about me. I talk about what helps you. I talk about things that make trucking great. Again, and I'm not picking on you, Scott, but hey, I've already given you credit. So,
don't worry about it.
that's yeah, no, I pick on you a lot. I like you. That's why I do that. But it's a blessing when you realize and can admit that I don't know it all. But when you actually, like you say, Scott, stay vigilant and look at, well, what can I learn? Poet has been one to say in the past that the day you stop learning, you need to hang up the keys. And God bless him for that, because that's a real realization that there is something to learn.
Yeah, there's just so much. I mean, I know all of us can talk about it. I just think of like what Midlife has talked about, about kind of being a company guy versus what I do. And I'm not saying this negatively. I'm saying this like you got to constantly adapt and learn and try something that, because for instance, working on your own truck. When I was a company guy, I didn't work on my own truck. Matter of fact, one of the companies I worked for wouldn't allow me to fill the truck with fluids, meaning antifreeze or oil, that you had to have a mechanic do it. That was probably the biggest setback for me becoming an owner operator, not knowing how to work on my equipment and learning how to work on my equipment by trial and error, man, and screwing things up and spending money on a mistake that I caused, but without causing the mistake, I wouldn't learn how to do it right the next time to save me thousands of dollars.
Right.
Here's
an interesting question that just got bounced off. Poet says how to properly fill out your logbook, be it either a paper or ELD. I mean, what can we offer as a panel to back him up? I mean, I think there's a lot about maintaining your logbook that could go, talked about here on a show like today. Anybody got something to offer on that?
Your sleep well?
Well, they don't actually teach you paper logbooks in school. They teach you how to fill out one, and it's very simple, and it's like 20 minutes and you're done. Like they don't actually teach you how to actually keep a logbook.
Yeah, but how important are notations? I know notations can really make or break somebody in terms of passing an inspection or failing inspection. What about you, Tom? What do you think?
To tell you something about notations, I over notate my logs. And when I've went inspection. I've had 5 inspections, all green flag, no issues. And my last level 1, he took a look at my logs and he goes, "Oh, I love it." He said, "No, these notations make everything easy." I mean, it says fueling. I use the same notations too. I don't like my notation either says pre-trip, post-trip, checking in with carrier, docking, whatever. It's the same thing all the way down. I don't change it up and say, I'm doing pre-trip inspection. Oh, PTI. No, it's always the same. If I use PC, it says bobtail to store, or it might even just say going to store. And then the returning from store. Doesn't say going back to terminal, because going to terminal is not acceptable. So you just you have to learn the HOS, and you have to learn it to your advantage. Here's something not taught in truck driving school and not taught by your trainer. Adverse conditions. Nobody tells you what they are, how to use them, how they benefit you.
You're right. Nobody tells you what can get you in trouble either, because there are certain circumstances.
Exactly.
That
Red
can.
flag.
Exactly.
But if you notate an adverse condition and you notate it correctly and well, like for example, accident, I-75, mile marker 286. The DOT officer has a computer, and he types into the computer, and he knows if there was an accident near there. I've actually had 286 as the mile marker, and it was actually 290. They don't care. You clearly showed you were involved in an accident, that you were parked waiting for an accident to clear, and your logbook. What should your logbook be on when you're sitting there waiting for the accident to clear? This is a mistake a lot of drivers make. No, drive.
On duty.
No, it'll say on duty, not driving. If you're still longer than
your log,
sitting on the highway,
your ELD without movement of the truck for over 5 minutes, will automatically, you do not have to be in driving in that scenario, because you can be pulled over on the shoulder of the road.
But that's what you got to tell them. I pulled over to the shoulder of the road. If you were sitting in a traffic lane, you're supposed to edit it back to drive. But if you're not sitting in a traffic lane, you don't have to. And I have edited back to drive before when it didn't matter and wasn't going to hurt me. But that's 2 free hours. And again, you got to know the rules, and you got to use them correctly. If you're not notating fueling, which many drivers do not, if you're not notating docking, all that stuff, you pull into the shipper, it's exactly 5 minutes. Scaling, yes, exactly.
Scales.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the points I think is made a lot of rounds in news, not to cut you off, Scott, but one of the points I think is made a lot of rounds in news is that a lot of what we just covered on this whole how ELDs work, on duty status, off duty, is the biggest reason why in the recent 6 months of my scanning news stories anyway, I've seen a huge list of ELD makers and software compliance, software programs, XYZ, whatever, getting bumped from the official FMCSA allowed to use list. Everybody else noticed the same? I know you have. But a lot of them are being bumped because a lot of times they're allowing too much control to the editors of the logs and not automatic control. One of the things I think has been bumping them is that whole discussion that just went on between Fate and Midlife about whether or not it's 5 minutes versus 2 minutes. My experience, and this is what Keep Truckin', and they've not been banned yet, but as soon as you're idle and not moving for less than 5 miles an hour for 60 seconds, a message comes up allowing you to either update status or continue driving. Once that disappears after 60 seconds, it's automatically bumped to on duty, not driving. And until you update the status or increase your speed to 5 miles per hour or higher, you remain on duty, not driving. So there's a lot of people out there that will allow you to just immediately go into off duty and stay that way as long as you want. They're the ones that the FMCSA are bumping and not allowing to keep on compliance. So
let's be clear about something.
It's 5 minutes.
You cannot edit driving. There are ELDs. There are ELDs that do allow that are being banned. You technically are not allowed to edit drive time.
Right.
You can't go back and edit it to like PC, like what Midlife was talking about earlier.
Right.
You know, that was a thing on why a lot of companies they gave you too much control in the editing. But once you start editing the drive line, you're going to have major problems. I would not recommend doing that at all.
Never under any
Now a
circumstance.
carrier can edit driveline, but if
Yes.
the carrier does, it's going to be a flag.
And it's going to
And
come
my
to
carrier-
you.
Yeah.
Correct. My carrier has edited driveline, for example. We have a 45-mile limit on PC. And there was a time I needed more PC to be able to make it to the house. And I was truly going PC. I was going home from a drop lot, which is considered an acceptable reason. But I had to cross Atlanta, and it was going to take me 77 miles. So what happened is after 45 miles, I kicked onto driveline. I went ahead and continued all the way to the house. When I got to the house, they changed it from drive to PC, and they put a notation underneath it, and you clearly could tell in the logs, and it said authorized PC by carrier. And then I had to verify again.
Yeah.
So Midlife brought up earlier too about editing, like the wording that he uses in his logs, and that could not be more accurate. God, we got to find a reason to fight, Midlife. I feel like I've been agreeing with you too much lately, but he's 100% right. And you know what? Like it's saved my butt too. I probably well, what's the word I'm looking for? I add things that I probably don't need to add to my logs because it saves me. I've been pulled into get my logs inspected, and it's like, oh, you're in sleeper duty, but you know the back data shows your truck was moving like, you know, a fraction of a mile an hour, and it's like, no, man, look, I log everything. My restroom breaks are logged because technically a restroom can be off duty.
That's right.
So when you go into a rest area to go to the bathroom, are you actually logging went in and pooped, or just went into the bathroom?
Restroom.
Okay,
Restroom.
on mine,
I log
You don't tell them what you
everything.
did in there?
No.
My standard for stopping for a restroom break is driver break. So if I stop to get a snack or go to the bathroom or whatever, I put off duty and I put the word driver break. And it's consistent. You can look back over my logs day by day by day, and you see maybe I stopped 3 times for driver break. Now, another thing I use that split clock floor for here recently is, you know, my TikToks and YouTube where I've been doing the drone videos. Well, say 5 or 6 o'clock's coming up, and I happen to know I'm passing a good truck stop that's going to have lots of good backing, but I'm not going to spend the night there. I can stop, take a 2-hour break, put my drone up, get some footage, get back in the truck, drive on a little while, and catch the 8 hours later.
Yep, there you go. One of the points Poet brings up, chaining up. That's another great topic. I mean,
What?
I know
What
when
about
I
trains?
oh, stop it. Don't jump the gun, Tom. When I was trained and I learned to drive in New York City, listen to me. That was actually one of the training experiences I went through.
New York City?
Yeah, I learned to say New York, and I learned during a snowstorm. That was where I took my CDL school and where all my training went. And one of the things that was pounded in my skull was, well, if you're going to drive anywhere that has winter snow and all this, there's certain months of the year you need to worry about carrying chains. And the first company I drove for, of course, mind you, made me visit a chain bank. And they made it a point to show me there's 2 types of chains you can use. There's your standard chains, but then there's also those strings that go around. And I forget what they're called. Never used them, don't care about them. But they made it a point to show you the difference between the 2. Yeah, there you go. Socks, yeah. They had those strings around me. Had to clamp them up with the hasp or whatever. It was a mess. I would never use them. But I always used the standard chains, and that's how I was taught. But Poet brings up the chaining up. I mean, how many of us on the panel have ever had to actually do it? Good question, I thought. Let's add
You
to
just
that.
brought up another thing not taught during CDL school or training.
Mm-hmm.
Chaining.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I've never used chains, not once.
I'm never going to use chains.
Well,
This company doesn't even put chains on the truck.
Mhm.
And if, for example, we're making a California run during the chain season, they're in the trailer in a crate that's got the word decorations on it because they're decorations. We're never to use them. If it's bad enough to chain, it's bad enough for us to be in a hotel.
Yeah, bad enough to park. Yeah. What about you, Scott? What do you think? I mean, chains, good, bad. Will you do it? Won't you do it?
Because of what I do, I'm able to say I will. I don't like throwing chains, and I don't go to areas. Now, here's the thing: you have to be careful with this. There's lots of states that have chain laws that we don't even know about. You have to look in the back of your atlas to see what states actually have chain laws.
I think me and Tom said the same thing at the same time. Farmer's Almanac, right?
Yeah, like,
I think you
don't
just found the one thing that you and Midlife Trucker aren't going to agree on.
what's that?
What? I think he's talking
He
about.
he doesn't believe in atlases.
The atlas was obsolete the day it was printed.
No, they're so vital.
There we go.
If you're a truck driver that does not use an atlas and you only rely on your Garmin, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation.
I
Garmin.
not only rely on my Garmin.
Amen.
I do not only rely on my Garmin. I have many other sources. However, the atlas was obsolete the day it was printed. Can you drive across?
Do you know what the atlas offers you?
Yeah, right now.
What was that? $6.95? Yeah.
The atlas says I can take that bridge, and the
Well,
bridge
you
has got
know
a
better
small
than that.
restriction on it.
I can
the
verify.
atlas is way. The atlas offers way more than just a truck route. Like I said, if you drive in Maryland, you're supposed to have chains. If you drive in Pennsylvania, you're supposed to have chains on your truck. These are lots of things that people don't know. That if the DOT wanted to step on your feet, they could, because you're technically supposed to have them.
John, I know you have something to add to this. I know you have something to add to this.
Yes, I can verify that bridge is no longer there, because yesterday I visited the west side and the east side in the same night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of Baltimore.
Yeah,
of where that bridge is at. He went to both sides.
Yeah,
of where
I drove to
the.
I drove to the west side and thought, well, I don't feel like swimming, so then I drove to the other side.
I have never taken that bridge. Never. Not one time did I ever take that bridge.
I was on the west side.
I pick up a lot in Baltimore.
And my pickup was on the east side, right off that bridge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd like to say something
2 miles
here,
from that
if
bridge.
I can.
Go ahead, John.
Or not.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead,
all right. A few things here. Okay. I've been out here just almost as long as Scott has, and I'm going to tell you right now. Yes, the GPS is very helpful for getting around, but the atlas is very helpful for bridge laws. And I'm talking bridge laws as if you're a driver, you know what you're talking about. It has to do with where our end of our trailer and where the tandems are, basically, to each state, up to the kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's very helpful there, because every state has a different law about that. Now, here with the chain law, there again, every state has a different fixture on it. Some enforce it, like Colorado, big enforcers. When they say chain up or have chains on your vehicle, they mean it. They will fine you, and you have to purchase chains before you're allowed to travel any further, and they're very expensive. You know, another thing with like Tom was touching on is, schools don't teach you this stuff. They mention it, but they don't teach you how to put chains on. Okay, my school didn't teach me. I actually had a trainer that taught me. Do I want to chain up? No. Have I ever had a chain up in almost 24 years? Yes, one time. And it was only to get me from one spot that I was, not going to be able to park to a part that I could get pulled off and safely stop. Once I arrived there, that was it. Right. So, chains are not something I want to use. So there we go. Thank you. Sorry.
Well, no, you make a good point. I mean, a point, and as soon as I finish my point, I'm going to go on to some comments, because I'm getting really behind on comments. But yeah, I am of the same school of thought as another guest here on this panel, that if it gets bad enough to where it's necessary to chain, as far as I'm concerned, the chains are only as good as the next place you can find to park, and then remove the damn things. Stay off the road until you don't need them anymore. That's all the chains are good for, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
So
100% agree.
only purpose in which I will ever consider using them. I don't carry them.
One last thing I forgot. When we were talking a while ago about the getting inspected, I can say I'm blessed, I believe. In the 24 years that I've been driving, I've only been inspected, I think, twice. And there were small levels. They were real simple. Well, no, one of them was a full level, but I passed all those. But they were not on the Class A rig. They were on a Class B. I've never been pulled into a scale except for one time my front tag was about to fall off. Scale house guy here in Oklahoma says, hey, pull around there, fix that, pull back around. If you got to fix, I'll let you go. I'm like, awesome. That was it. I mean, in 24 years almost, that's the only things I've ever had any problems with. I've been very blessed.
How many levels of inspection are there?
I believe there's 5.
Wrong.
Next guess?
I know how many levels. There's 6.
You are
okay,
correct.
I was close.
6. Everybody knows 1, 2, and 3.
Right?
What's 4, 5, and 6?
I can tell you level 4 should be I can't tell you what 4 and 5 are. I do know that radioactive materials is number 6.
4 is a special inspection. Let's say you've just been involved in an accident and your front bumper's hanging. He will do a level 4 inspection, which is just going to inspect your bumper and your headlights and your turn signals, everything connected to the piece that was just involved in the accident, so you can continue on.
Right.
Level 5, let's say you got into an accident and you got taken away in an ambulance, and they want to inspect your vehicle before it gets taken away.
Vehicle only.
They will do a level 5 inspection on that vehicle before your vehicle gets towed. At level 6, we're never going to have unless you're hauling nuclear or radioactive and all that other crazy stuff.
Right.
But if you got a level 6 on your DOT on your DAC report, trust me, people are going to look at you real funny.
Yeah, exactly. Some serious stuff.
Read the comment. Read the comment that just came in. The very last comment.
Oh, okay. I got to specially divert all the way. Last one was right here. The cavity search.
That's a good one. I don't know you, Alex, but that's a good one.
That is a good one.
You know, I'll say this. I've always referred them to a DOT physical of your equipment and yourself. So, you know, it's quite fun.
Yeah.
Hang on, guys.
Let me catch up on the comments, guys. I mean, I don't want to ignore the guys that are actually contributing to the show. So, Tolga from the land over yonder, I think, where did John? He's from Turkey. Oh,
Turkey.
Okay. So, oi to you, my friend. Talking about he gave a like to other legends. While you're here, do like Tolga. Go down below, whatever channel you're on. Mine, John, Grumpy's, Midlife. Like the show. Become a subscriber. Certainly come back. This is not the only fun time in Truckin City media history. And he's an admirer of yours, Scott. So, you know, hey, just had to point that in there one. Just had to talk about that. Truckin is dead. He's recognizing everybody. Here's a face we don't know of, or do know of. Of all the truckers, you're all awesome hard workers. If it wasn't for the truckers or some truck we would never make, thank you all. God bless. To all the trucks that drive out there, you're all a hero. How much did you pay her? I want to know. How much did you pay her? You had to. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. She has a mind of her own, just like yours does.
I know. Yeah, I know mine. Yeah.
Can I comment on that comment?
You can.
Sure, why not?
I mean, no disrespect by this, none at all. And I'm the appreciation guy, but I don't consider truckers heroes. I really don't. I think we're out here doing our jobs because we're paid to do our
I
jobs. We're
agree.
not sacrificing our lives for our country. But I do think that truckers should be appreciated for what they do. So I do appreciate that you said that. I think in a different time a few years ago, we were more heroic, but
Yeah, it would have
only
taken a
because
lot
of the time that we were in.
Need help?
But I do appreciate it very much, Rebecca, that you
She
said
wasn't.
that. So.
Oh yeah, I guess you did refer right there at the end. Okay.
You're all our hero. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
Well, there
else?
was a
Yeah.
time when the truck drivers were the cowboys of the road, and you broke down on the side of the road. There was going to be a semi pulling over, help you change that
Yep.
tire or whatever. Things have
Yep.
changed so much in our industry. Nowadays, if there's half the time you can't fix what's wrong anyway. They don't even have a spare in the car anymore. And in addition to that, our truck sitting on the side of the road is probably more dangerous than than the person changing the tire.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I actually stopped and blocked using my semi a 2-lane road. I actually parked my truck in the road, pulled my air brakes, set my turn signals, went back and put triangles, even though I was not broke down, for an accident that was very, very serious. And then when the fire trucks got there, the fire truck blocked the road, and then I picked my triangles up and got the hell out of the way. But we are a bigger danger in the road in a lot of cases than
Yes.
the accident itself is.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
exactly.
something that's changed
Can I-
in today's traffic world.
Yep.
You skipped over a comment I want to point out, if you don't mind. Real quick.
I haven't skipped over anything, but yet I'm going down the list, so bear with me. Just
There you
wanted
go.
to.
No, you skipped this one. This was way after what you said.
I see. I haven't been able to see it, so all right, but good. Trucking is Dead gives John. I'm assuming it's you, John. Super sticker for $2.99.
Yes.
Super sticker. I don't
Yes.
know. Has he got a comment to go with it?
Yeah. No, it's a super sticker. It's a thumbs up according to what I'm looking to on my channel here. But I really appreciate it. Trucking is Dead. Guys, you don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it when you do.
Yeah, it is. It is nice to see
Have a
that.
good day, guys. I gotta run.
Scott, we love you, buddy. Come back
All right.
soon. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow, he didn't even let us say goodbye. He was gone.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he showed up.
We're gonna give him the nickname Speedy Gonzalez. Zoom.
Yeah. Zoom.
Arriba, arriba, vroom.
Find out where I was. I was highlighting girl in a semi. She was there. She's with us today. Saying morning, guys. All right. There we
Morning
are.
to you.
All right.
Although,
God bless
yeah,
you.
it's still morning my time.
Yeah, right. And
The
7
grumps time.
Yeah. Says, still owner operator. I don't work on my own equipment. Truthfully, I prioritize family time when I park over everything. Costs more that way, but it's what I do. Hey, I think family time is major important anywhere you look at it, no matter what. I mean, there's work, and I'm not full screen, so I can't really. There's work on one side, and there's family on the other. You never mix the two. It's always a bad experience. Trust me, I've learned that from experience.
I have an agreement with the mechanics. They don't drive the truck. I don't work on the truck.
There you go. That works. That works. So I think all of us can be in unison on that one.
Well, I've had to do minor things. Like last night, I was trying to find the fuse that was causing the problem, which is not the fuse. So I'm still stuck here.
All right. I'm going to read a couple more comments, and I'm going to have to hand it over to you guys for a minute. Poet, I find this hard to believe, dude. 61 before you learn to chain. Dude, you live in land of freaking snow. What do you mean you were not, you never learned to chain till you're 61? Sorry. You can't sell me that one, buddy. But I like that anyway.
When he was 61, chains were barely invented.
There you go. We love you, Poet. We're just picking on you.
Sorry, Poet. I had to. Sorry, Poet.
Yeah. There you go. Poet says, sorry, Scotty. My HR used to edit my logs without my knowledge. Wish you could see that. That's cool to see.
Well, that's something right there. Hang on that comment he just made. When they edit your logs, you are still responsible because you have to click the word verified or certified. And if you click it, The company is not the one that can be criminally charged with that. You would be. So if,
That's right.
if somebody extends your logs and you have a wreck, the carrier is not criminally responsible. You are, because you clicked verified and you accepted it.
And it still red flags it to where it's visible. So if you get audited, it's there. I mean, there's no getting rid of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to be very particular about who can control what. And that's half the reason why most of these ELD companies are in scrutiny the way they are. And moving on to our next comment, though, FMCSA is kicking out some ELD companies because they get audited and find out the company and operations have edited the log, mostly driveline. That was to, I think, Scott's point earlier, and that's where she's mentioning that. So good point, girl in the semi. I appreciate you contributing to that. We're only allowed 70. Now that's interesting. 70 kilometers. That, if I'm not mistaken, and my math is right, that's only
45 miles an hour.
Well, no,
I'm looking right at it. 45 miles an hour.
No. What he's
It's not
saying
a
is
speed, it's a
distance. Exactly. He's saying distance.
Okay.
70 kilometers is approximately around 2 hours, because that equals about 140 miles, or about 120 if my math conversion rate's off.
Your math's backwards.
Oh, is it backwards?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be a lot less than 200, and that would be like a half
40
hour.
miles.
That's kind of restrictive.
Well, if 70 kilometers per hour equals 45 miles per hour,
Frank,
right, roughly.
It's not speed. It's not speed.
I understand, but I'm trying to say, if you can do 70 kilometers in 45 miles per hour, then it would be roughly about maybe a little over an hour worth of drive time.
43.5 miles.
Okay, so it's just under 45 miles per hour our time.
I was going to say 45.
Yeah, our time.
Yeah, I was going to say 45. Stop saying per hour.
Well, you know, I'm from America, not Canada, and I don't do that kilometers, and I don't do that metrics. I'm not a metric man. I'm a standard man.
It's still not per hour. Per hour is a speed. They're talking about distance.
Well,
That could be a carrier limitation as well, because we have drivers who drive in Canada, but we're limited to 45 miles of PC, but that's not by FMCSA, that's by our carrier.
All right. Well, just so you guys have an understanding of what that is, I have just brought up a screen, which I'm going to try and share if my computer will let me. Just so everybody understands.
Okay, we're waiting.
Oh, boy.
He is actually correct. He is correct. They are limited to 73 kilometers of bobtail in Canada by the ISAAC, which I guess is the equivalent of the Canadian FMCSA.
Right there on the screen, 70 kilometers is 43.49 miles.
I already
That's
said
all
that.
they're limited to.
What did I say a while ago? But no, you're wrong. Of course, Tom was a little closer because he said 43. I said 45, but no.
Poet started an argument. Good for you, my friend. I appreciate that.
What Poet was talking about is the limitation, and he is actually correct. Their ISAAC, and I'm not quite sure, I think that's the equivalent of our FMCSA, limits drivers to 73 miles of bobtail.
Yep. Okay. So he's very, very close, at least. Yeah. He says, I've done ice.
Here in the USA, by the way, Poet, there is actually no FMCSA limitation on how far you can go bobtail or how far you can go what we call PC, personal conveyance. You can literally cross the country. However, you got to be able to justify it, and carriers are allowed to limit. Some carriers don't allow it at all.
Yeah.
Other carriers make you call in for permission, and some limit, like my carrier limits us to 45 miles.
Yeah,
Now,
I think
my carrier treats us like adults. As long as we don't abuse it, we don't lose it.
I think Warner's one of them that done away with it totally.
The PC, yes, I did.
And
yeah.
some of them do
I
like
also
mine.
wanna
It's a time thing. Like
Go ahead, John. Go
some
ahead.
of them do it by time instead of by distance. Like mine is 30 minutes a day.
Right. A lot of them are
I-
bound by audit controls, and some of them honestly abuse it way too much. So if they get restricted, it's their own damn fault, honestly. Let me acknowledge more people in the comments because I do not want to lose people for me ignoring them. A fella named Skyline says, hello, midlife. He must be familiar with you. So welcome to the show, whose ever channel you're on. So back to Poet real
I
quick.
think he's
He
on
says
Midlifes. I think he's a member on Midlifes.
could be,
He
could
is.
be.
I don't have any members.
I've done ice, winter roads, chains are mandatory. Nice to know, Poet. I was busting your chops earlier.
Oh, shoot. Hang on.
He's British Columbia, so all right. Take care of your stuff, John. There, I got you covered, buddy. Alex M again with comment. Oh no, I'm heading to California. I don't have change. Should I turn around? Dude, honestly, I'm going to be right behind you starting this week because I'll be going to California too. And I don't worry about change unless it's back in October. So I think October 1st is when they start actually pushing chain laws.
Nope. September. It begins as chain law has been changed. It's
Not every state. There are some that wait until later in the year. It depends on what the
Well,
altitude is.
Colorado. It starts in about the mid part of September up until I believe almost May now.
No.
I don't do
September
70,
1st to
dude.
May 31st.
I don't do 70.
Okay.
Colorado is September 1st to May 31st, and it is the earliest
Okay.
state.
Yeah, it is.
All
It
right.
is. By
Okay.
I can definitely attest to
Let me-
that. Trucking
Let me jump in.
trucking
real
is
quick,
dead.
if you
So
guys
tip
don't
the
mind.
people on the screen because hold on, John. Tip the people on the screen because it's valuable information and YouTube pays very little. Yeah, I know. Thank you for that, Trucking's dead. I appreciate that. What were you gonna say, John?
I was just gonna say, not in the same line, but on this stream that we're doing right now, there's and plus Pate was in here too, Pate Trucking. Guys, if you're watching from a different channel, take time to go and visit all of our channels and subscribe, and make sure you ring the bell and all that good stuff. Hit the thumbs up. We'd all really appreciate it. We're all building channels, and we'd like great people like you guys that are commenting to join all of our crews. So I appreciate everybody coming in.
Join the benefit by all means of over 100 years worth of experience, well-trained, well-rounded, and well-versed experience. I mean, every facet of the business. We have a full load here, and those that have left. I'm not excluding Scott from this. He alone, by the way, Truckin, he alone has over 25 years. So I mean, I'm mentioning him because he's not here. But each of you
also you got.
Go
You
ahead.
also got Poet in the comments, which has like 70 years experience. So,
well, I'm gonna go with the panelists and the comments. I mean, it's huge, but yeah.
Poet's
Tom,
gonna hate me by the end of this.
I know,
Poet
right?
uses canned internet, so come on now, give him a break.
Dude, go easy on him. Tom, how many years have you been in the business, Tom?
I'm picking on you, Poet. You know it.
Yeah. Tom, how many years have you been in the business, my friend?
I went to CDL school October 2019.
2019. Okay. John, how many years?
7.
Okay. And Frank, we know you've got over 23 years because that's what many of my videos boast about you, my friend. So right there, my 13 plus, we're already over half a century's worth of experience. Fate, 25. Poet, 70 years from what I understand. He's been in trucking 70 years. He's been in a while. So
you also have Girl in the Semi in the comment section too.
Yeah.
I was going to get more. I'm trying to scan the list and not forget anybody. So Girl in a Semi exclusively. She's been in it a while too. I want to say 50, put down in the year. I mean, how many years? I'm thinking between 40 and 50. I don't know the exact number. But Girl in a Semi, you're welcome to contribute that. She's on our show a lot.
I'd say she's got 45 plus.
Probably, yeah. And I'm terrible with memory when it comes to stuff like that.
Also,
Skyline.
I wanted to let.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry, I just wanted to let Girl in the Semi and Trucking is Dead. No, I made them both moderators on my channel. So
Good. All right. And so far, it seems like everybody's caught up on that regards in my channel, but I will make changes as time needs to. Skyline says I can chain up in 20 minutes. Just get to a safe place. Only did it 3 times. All right. You've done it 3 more times than I
That's
ever
pretty
have.
impressive.
Yeah. Actually, no, 2 more
Yeah,
times.
but that's impressive. Only done it 3 times. You can do it in 20 minutes. That's pretty good, actually.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah. All right. Trying to catch up. I don't want to leave anybody out here. Somebody new to the broadcast. Donna Deschler. My brother was a truck driver, and I also give you all credit on what you do. So thank you very much. We appreciate you acknowledging that. But it is people like yourself that order with the confidence that trucking will not go anywhere, and that's why we do it. And to John's earlier point, I look at it this way, and this is just my belief. You guys can differ from me if you'd like. Trucking is a lifestyle choice. In my entire life, I've been in transportation one way or the other. I've been in 3 different sectors of transportation. But trucking is a choice that I'm proudly aware that I probably will retire doing. But other than that, I've been in other parts. Transportation as far as taxis, limousines, rental trucks, logistics and management. Tolga, you can probably relate to that.
How do you spell chauffeur?
Don't play with me. Don't. This is my show. You ain't doing that to me.
Alex
anyway.
has 20 years. Wanted to point that out.
Oh yeah, good for that. I'm glad. You know how I spell chauffeur? Taxi. That's how I show it.
I spell it Uber.
That's an old cab. There you go. Yeah, good one. All right. Not trying to ignore. I'm just trying to scan and speed through comments. I may miss some. Forgive me.
Why do people
Guy
do that?
named
Sorry.
Juan got my outlawing in ready, retired, and loving it. I assume by outlawing, you're a former trucker. God bless you. Thank you for your service, my friend. During dropping hooks, I heard something, Mom, but give me a minute. I used yard. I think he meant yard moves and hit drop and hook tab. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah,
That is
I would
legal.
say don't leave shipper property. Yard moves are permitted, but that's
As long as
that's dependent on the carrier.
usually it pertains to anywhere that is illegally fenced in or that is gated, is the way they look at it.
Yeah.
Now you do not want to use yard move if you're at like a truck stop. That's a big no-no.
Well, kind of. Actually, what the
Well-
FMCSA says is it has to be restricted from public traffic. So if you're at a Petro, like Bordentown Petro,
Yeah.
and it has a gate which restricts people from public traffic, it says no public traffic allowed,
Uh-huh.
you are allowed.
Good point.
So at a terminal,
Good point.
any place that keeps cars out. So it can either have a fence, it can have just signs that say restricted area, no private vehicles, or it could be like a Petro or something. And you could feel
All
free
right.
to use yard
Oh,
move
it's
anywhere,
meant to
but
be
you just
straight.
have to be able to justify it.
Poet sets me straight, and I like the fact that you guys will call me out when I make a mistake. He says, I'm 70, he's been trucking for 54 years. Apologies, dude. You're still older than dirt. I don't care.
Poet's taking a beating today.
I'm there.
Feel the love there, Poet. Feel the love.
He's getting me back, though. He calls me out when I make a mistake. So I gotta love him.
You're getting an email after this one for sure.
Probably, yeah. But there's your chauffeur right there. Dude's right on it too. Look at that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, midlife, and this gentleman's not even from here around in the States, and he knows how to spell it.
Yeah. He probably knows the taxi business better than me. I ain't gonna dismiss that. I'm done picking on guests because they get back at me. Hell with that. Said you all truckers have a heart of gold. Keep up the awesome job. Stay safe out there. All right, and back at you, my lady. I appreciate that. Let's say chauffeur. Tolga, really? I had you back. I'm picking. Just wanted to say to Grumpy, this is the best your audio has ever been. I don't know what he's doing different. He's still a grumpy old trucker. What more do you want from him, 7Cs?
I know, right?
He's the happiest grumpy old trucker I ever met.
Seriously, right? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, all right. So I mean, we've gone around the gamut. Can anyone on the panel think of anything I may have missed that could be a sticking point of good information? No one teaches you in trucking school. You'll not find out by any trainer, but it's almost necessary. You have to know it to succeed in trucking. What say you, John? What would be a good thought in your back pocket?
What would be a good thought in the back pocket? Well, the best thought would be that I'm actually getting a closing statement today because the host is being nice to me today, which is I'm gonna call that out and say thank you for that. Because last time he just cut me right out.
I know.
I would say that.
And
We have high expectations.
Between his legs for about the next year on this show. I know I will.
We have high expectations for schools that train people how to drive, but in reality, their job is only to teach them how to operate a vehicle, not how to actually be a professional driver. So when you're gonna go to school, my advice to you is become a student outside of school. Learn as much as you can. Become a sponge. YouTube videos. Contact older truckers. And if you ever have a question, anybody on this panel, I'll speak for all of them. And if you're wrong, then tell me now. But you can contact any of us and we'll answer a question anytime you need it. So as new truckers, don't be afraid to ask because that's why we're here.
Yep. How about the poet comment down below? Floating gears. How about let's round off today's discussion with something you need to know about floating gears. I mean,
I can tell you one good thing about floating gears.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if you put it in drive, you don't have to worry about floating gears anymore.
Come on, Grumpy.
Okay, I can take this one.
Yeah.
Most schools that are reputable schools want you to learn how to double clutch. They want you to know how to properly operate the vehicle. Therefore, they do not want you to float. Now, when you get out there, if you are certified to drive manual and not an automatic restriction, and your trainer has a manual transmission, if he has been doing it a while, which I have, he will teach you how to float gears. Floating gears will save on your clutch. That's about all it really saves on. But you have to learn how to do it properly, or you're going to still grind them. You're still going to mess things up. Now what?
I actually have to correct you. It also saves your left knee from a lot of wear and tear.
Cut it out. You still walk with a gimp like I do.
Hey, no, you don't. I've seen him walk. Trust me.
We won't go there right now.
What about you, Tom?
That's because you have too many acorns in your pocket.
One side's heavier than the other.
Yeah. What would be one
I don't know how
nugget
to
you
float
could
gears.
offer?
I got a reverse, neutral, and a drive. If I float between them, it might upset somebody.
What would be one?
Nugget? It sure would.
What would be one good nugget you could leave the show with, Tom? One good thing they won't tell you about that we haven't discussed here.
All right. CDL school is just to teach you enough to get the license. Training is where you learn how to drive the truck. Experience is where you learn how to master the career. And you've got to put all three together. You can't skip any part of it. The guy who backed into me on that TikTok video was 2 months out of CDL school. He did not have that training phase. He went to a trade school CDL. He did not get to experience the training portion.
Yes.
And it's important to have all parts of that. And I'm not talking about team driving, although many companies do team drive instead of train. You got to have that training phase. You got to have a trainer in the passenger seat who shows you what to do, because otherwise you don't learn it all.
Right.
Exactly. Guys, I'll tell you what, it's shows like this that reinforce the fact that it's not only important to learn the best ways to do the job, but it's also important to network with others, because it's people like this panel right here, this show you're watching, that make it possible for you to do just that. Definitely keep your eyes open to the world in front of you. Don't forget the side mirrors, and don't forget to reach out to people like Driving with John, Midlife Trucker, Grumpy Old Trucker, Fate, and all those that have joined us on our panel today. and make it a habit to ask questions, because at the end of the day, questions are just those things that you're not sure of. And when you ask the right ones, believe you me, the world of possibilities is almost limitless. You guys are what make trucking possible. Trucks make the deliveries, but it's you that make it possible, that make the difference. So until next time, guys, keep the wheels spinning, keep the eyes out in front of you, and by all means, keep a rolling.